We are recording this, yeah, in case folks drop off because of poor weather or they're unable to stay the whole time. As mentioned, the chat will remain open, so feel free to have conversation in there. Flag us if you need us to pause. We also will be looking at the reactions too. Real quickly, on behalf of your CSinPA team at PaTTAN, I'm Sara Frey. I think I do see a lot of friendly faces. My team is here, I believe. I see Avni, Ethan, Jeremy. You're somewhere on my big tic-tac-toe board. Hey, friends. A few things that we'd like to come through. The slides, there are very few of them, but we know that there's going to be some links shared and some information that you may want to access later, especially Tom McLaughlin. I see you cruising down the hall, man. We want to make sure that you can get to these links later. So there is a link there. It's a tiny URL. We'll also drop it in the chat window. So the any hyperlinks or websites mentioned on the slides or verbally, they are in the speaker notes. So I believe those should be accessible, and we'll make sure that we drop those into the chat again shortly. But I'd like to just pop right in. I know our time is short. Few friendly reminders: if you weren't able to be in the national room, CSS Elementary is a great partner to Pennsylvania with family code nights. I see some intermediate unit friends here who have done a great job of helping support local schools and districts host those virtual events for families. If you have questions, please reach out to our team. Our contact information is in the slides. We're happy to help you think through what a family code night could be. We'd also love it if you would put your school goals on the map, and whether you are a community member or a family or a parent or an educator, you're able to access that map and update it. If you have any questions about those, hit us up with the PaTTAN backgrounds. I already mentioned, I see a lot of familiar faces, but if you're new to our little friendly community of CSinPA, we do have a lot of things going on all year long, virtual, pretty much virtual this year. The big things to notice there, the newsletter is linked in our in the speaker notes. That newsletter will contain what's happening every single month, the ongoing opportunities. We also use that newsletter to give a shout out and celebrate the awesome things that you all are doing, regardless, whatever your role. I know that we featured some of the educators I see across the board here who've had some accomplishments or some great projects. I see some of our intermediate unit partners. I know we've shouted you all out when you presented at like CSTA or you've hosted a really cool program. So whatever your role is, if you have something to brag about or share broadly, please send it our way and we will feature it in our newsletter. The other thing to notice there, our monthly meetups are open to anybody. Those are like 1 hour live discussions in Zoom. We throw out some guiding questions, and we have really awesome conversation about computer science education. Now, one of the opportunities that was mentioned in the national room was script. And if IU folks, I know this is old hack for you. Some of our LEA friends here today, our teachers and our admins, are familiar. But I want to give my colleague Avni a chance to give us a heads up about why script is such a valuable opportunity, regardless of what your role is in your local school or your community.
Thanks, Sarah. So if you aren't familiar with what script is and what the process of it is it's basically a strategic plan that we put in place for a school district, an LEA, where it's a comprehensive K-12 plan that's created. So this is where we get various stakeholders into the meeting, into basically one room, and it's your admins from district level to school level. It could be teachers from any grade level, our ESL teachers or special ed teachers or school counselors. We get them all in one room and we basically devise a plan of how can we ensure that we are providing computer science access to not just some of our students, but to all of our students. It is a great opportunity for everyone to take a look at data and making sure that everything is also being carried out. So we do 3 months, 6 months, and then we do a 1-year workshop again. So the 3 and 6 months are check-ins with your facilitator. And then there's one big workshop again. So not only are we just creating something on a piece of paper, we're going to keep revisiting it and making sure that we are changing what needs to be changed because it is or it isn't working well. And we're going to continue to make the plan better and continue to move forward with our CS goals. A great way to see if your school is involved in CS is there is a bit.ly on the slide, and then there's also a full link in the slide deck. And you can check out and see if your school is participating in Script. That is a great way to see who you can contact as well. Thank you, Sarah.
No, thank you. If you have done Script or you've been a part of Script, whether a facilitator or an educator, and you have the opportunity, I'd love to see like a reaction. If you can use a Zoom reaction or throw it in the chat window, give us a sense of your familiarity with it. So if you have had any kind of participation in Script, show us with a reaction or say hey in the chat. Thinking of that community approach to computer science planning and implementation, I gotta give kudos to our next speaker. We've got a really awesome opportunity from Debbie at our great partners WITF and Pennsylvania PBS. Boy howdy, if you see this lady in a supermarket or somewhere, you want to corner her and pick her brain. Debbie, can you give us the rundown of all the awesome things happening with PAPBS right now?
Thanks, Sarah. Don't corner me in a grocery store. That'll scare me a lot, but we can hang out. We'll have coffee or tea. It'll be good. I'm excited to be able to share with you a little bit about the presence of Pennsylvania PBS and what we're able to share and do through a lot of venues. And we're not going to talk about everything today, but I am going to hopefully give you some peeks into the kinds of things that we're working on. So again, I'm Debbie Riek. I'm the education director. You can see my email there as well as the Pennsylvania PBS website. All of the things we're going to talk about today are there. So you were just a hot second fast, but that was lovely. The very beginning of the pandemic, we launched a web page called Learning at Home, and it was connecting all of the resources from the wide variety of the 7 stations in Pennsylvania to all of the work that we were doing with PDE and our IU partners, trying to get that information into the hands of families. And as we're hopefully pivoting, right, slightly maybe, I don't know, on the day-to-day basis out of being so much at home, we've been thinking about how learning happens for children all across the state and really look at it in terms of 3 main presents, right? This idea of, yes, kids are learning at home. Yes, they're learning at school, but they're also learning everywhere they are, and learning in their community is really essential to being able to reach the whole child, right? So all of our resources we are collecting across the 7 stations. If there are virtual workshops, if there are opportunities that are localized to individual communities, on that Pennsylvania PBS site, you'll see those experiences in those 3 categories. And your learning neighborhood to me really represents what all of us do, right? Which is connect learning to families and children wherever they are. But a couple quick things I wanted to just reference specifically to you, if you want to flip to the next one. So we created with our friends, Sara and Avni, who, if you watch these programs, you'll see Sara and Avni in them. We were sort of tasked with the challenge of how to connect families who are not connected, right? Not connected to the internet, and help them understand what coding looks like. So we started with this idea of how to create a television program that helped children and families get a broad understanding of what coding was like, what a little introduction to computer science. And we came up with this model called Family Nights. These air on, I know it is an Emmy nominee. We're so fancy. It's very exciting. Family Night Coding airs on PBS channels across the state. So you don't need anything special. You don't need any supplies. We created sort of these experiences that could be done in a home with things that you can find in your home. And so we also introduced careers around coding and computer science in the first program. Since then, we've created a second one, Family Night Engineering. And we are currently working on Family Night, I think this is a secret, but I'm gonna tell you, Family Night Space. So in each case, we talk about careers in these fields that are not necessarily careers that kids would think of first, right? So when we're thinking about space, we're not necessarily talking about astronauts, but about the people that design the suits that astronauts wear and why those are it's a really important job and things like that, as well as a wide variety of ties directly to computer science, because as you guys know, it's very difficult to talk about any part of STEM without talking about the computer science components. So I share those to say those programs are available, the actual activity segments are available, the career exploration parts are available, as well as a wide variety of activities that you can do either in a classroom or in a home to expand upon these different ideas. So coding's there, engineering's there, and space will be there in November. Finally, I just wanted to share one more resource with you if you don't know about it. Those of you who have heard me talk about it before, you're like, I know. You love PBS Learning Media, but it is a free resource. It is available to anyone. And basically what it is, if you picture all of the platforms of PBS, from Daniel Tiger to Nova and everything in between, those resources are all collected on Learning Media. They are searchable by grade. They are searchable by topic. I just did a quick search for computer science. There are over 7,500 results for video links, for lesson plans. They're all to state standard. It's amazing and it's free, and a wonderful resource for you to take advantage of. So I just wanted to share those things. There's lots more to explore on Pennsylvania PBS, as well as the individual station sites. Again, there are 7 of us all across the state.
I have to admit, I think I got so excited, my computer had a little moment and stopped the screen share. Are we back screen sharing? Can someone get, okay. I was like, ah, okay. We can't do it justice. And Kelsey, thanks for posting in there some more just positive feedback. Our friends across the Pennsylvania PBS network have really done a great job collaborating with educators and families and every other partner they can get their hands on virtually to make sure that these resources are accessible and engaging and super fun. So if that's the one thing that you leave here with, is like, oh, cool, we've done our job, really, is to direct more attention towards Pennsylvania PBS and WITF. Plus, good luck. I think the Emmy awards are the end of this week, right?
Very soon. We're very excited.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I hope you have a very
Same to you, Sarah. I mean, it's not like, maybe it will be you that brings it home for us. They'll be like, that woman who did those activities, she's awesome. We're just gonna send an Emmy to her house. Sure.
Speaking of just awesome folks to know and make connections with, we've got if you're not familiar with Counselors for Computing, or if you haven't talked to a school counselor in your neighborhood lately, boy howdy, you're missing out. We have a wonderful guest here, Erin Campbell, zooming in from her school despite like power outages. representing the Pennsylvania Organization for Counselors for Computing, about ways that, regard whatever your role is, the power of collaboration with counselors to engage more students in computer science. Erin, I'll turn it over to you. We're so happy to have you.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. I promise I'll be brief, but Sarah really hit the nail on the head. You know, counselors, school counselors are in a unique position to engage with, obviously, students and families. And shout out to Debbie. I know when our school was shut down, I sent a lot of family coding night reminders to a lot of families for them to watch. So it's definitely well received here in Central PA. So, but just some things I want you to become familiar with. NCWIT is the organization that started Counselors for Computing, and NCWIT is the National Center for Women in Information Technology. So it's a program that provides resources and helps counselors, again, start that conversation with parents, families, other educators of how important the computing careers are and how many computer science careers are out there and not filled. We particularly like to dive into engaging women and underrepresented populations in computing careers. Here we go. We're starting from the beginning. We are adaptable, all of us today. So that is NCWIT and Counselors for Computing. In a nutshell, we are going to have all of your contact information at the end of this program, and I'll be sending out some information to all of you on our summer program. So through PaTTAN, for school counselors, we offer a 3-day training in the summer. Obviously, the past couple of years, it has been virtual, but who knows what this summer will bring. But we really dig deep into what we call CS+X. So engaging those students from kindergarten through 12th grade and helping them understand kind of a little bit like Avni said, that there are these careers out there, taking computer science and pairing it with another problem that they want to solve or another career path, and helping them understand that computer science is really everywhere. So it's, again, a 3-day program that will be late June. So watch for more information on that to forward to your school counselors. You can move ahead on the slide. All right, and these are just 3 more quick resources. Again, in the slide deck, there are links to all of these. From an elementary perspective, these are all resources that we like to use to kind of like start that conversation with our students. I'm not going to dive into Scratch, but if you're familiar with Scratch, it's a really fun program to start introducing coding, especially to your elementary students, or even, your staff members that say that they're not techie. Scratch is a great place to start to introduce that topic of coding. I apologize, I'm still at school and there's the announcements. The last thing I'll say real quick is FabFems is definitely another resource you want to check out. You can go to this website and find people in your area that are pursuing schooling in STEM related careers, and they can, Zoom with your school or set up some sort of small group training experience. And so someone locally to you that might be visually relatable to your kiddos, and they can talk more about whatever it is they're specializing in. All right, and then lastly, so at NCWIT that I mentioned earlier, their website is currently a little bit under construction, but has some great resources. And they have, one of my favorite resources they have is these top 10 ways. And these are just 3 of them. Top 10 ways to engage families in computing. Top 10 ways to, again, recruit underrepresented student populations. And 10 ways to engage unrepresented students in your undergraduate computing program. So these are just 3 of them, but quick, easy ways that you can start your process of putting computer science into the minds and hands of your families and students and educators. Definitely check that out.
Thank you, all 3 of our special guests. Look at us, 4 o'clock. We have 5 minutes to spare. Although we understand if you are transitioning out of your work or your school day, and you can't stick around, but if you can and you'd like to share, if you've got a question for one of the guests today, or you want to pop a information about something you're doing out there to share, whether you unmute yourself or drop it in the chat, you're welcome to. We threw some ideas there for maybe some things you might want to take with you, but the floor is open. Anybody have a question or something they'd like to share? Avni, is script free?
Yes, it is. It is one of those. It is offered by CSforAll, so you might have a facilitator that's within the state. So it could be from any of our IUs that have training script facilitators. We have a few that are approaching from us directly. They are all free, and it is a great resource to create a plan and to actually have something in place for your district. Thanks, Sarah.
Great question, Colleen. I also threw it in the chat window. If it's got that CSinPA tag on it, it is free. So we don't charge for any of our programming or our resources that you may see in our newsletter or on our toolkits. And shout out to our IU friends that are still on the call who are facilitating those workshops locally, making those awesome relationships in your community. Other questions or ponderings for each other, for the guests?
Sorry, Sarah, one more thing about script. I will drop into the chat my email address. If anyone, Colleen, if you or anybody else wants to take a moment and email me, I can get you in contact with any of the facilitators that that are within your purview, and I can give you more information about script as well. So thanks.
Andy, to sign up for the monthly CS newsletter, there's a link in the shared notes, and one of my friends will drop the September newsletter directly in the chat. Thank you. The September newsletter has a follow Sara Frey button, which sounds so ridiculous. It's our whole team. But if you click on that follow Sara Frey button, it'll add your email address to our little listserv for that monthly newsletter. So it is a monthly newsletter, but if there's something really awesome, like a big opportunity or grant or community thing, we'll do a special newsletter, but I promise we don't spam you. You don't get like 7 emails a day with, here's something cool we found. It's usually just that one a month. I know we've got just a few more minutes before whatever is being announced in the national room. But any other questions or ideas you want to share, something you want to brag about that's happening with computer science in your neck of the woods?
Sarah, I don't know if you missed it, but there was a question in the chat. Is it free for organizations that do after school programming or summer activities?
So I'm not sure if that is script specific or just generally with our programming. Depending on the programming, how it's funded, there are some restrictions for some of our professional learning because of state and federal funds, but our CS monthly meetups are absolutely open to anybody. And then if you come across a program or an opportunity that you're interested in, if you reach out to us, we can talk through it and lead you in the right direction. If we think it's a good fit for everybody. It's just about following state and federal regulations on how we spend our money. I know we're going to mosey over back into the national room. Again, if you have any questions for our team or one of our guests, our information is linked in the shared note and those shared slides, also in the chat window. Please don't be a stranger. We'd love to see you at our next meetup in October. I believe the date is like October 20, blah, blah, blah. Somebody help me out. 27? Is that right, friends? I don't know. It's in there, I promise. And then our October newsletter will go live next Friday. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope to see you back over in the National Room. Have a wonderful afternoon.